Hi, fourth grade writers. Today you're going to need your pencil, your writing notebook, scissors, glue stick, and your worksheet that was attached on Google Classroom. So pause the videos while you get that worksheet printed, get it cut out and glued into your writing notebook. All right. So today, fourth grade friends, we are going to be talking about really important words that help our readers follow our stories from beginning to end. Writers use transition words to help their readers understand the order of events in their story, so how the story goes along. Listen to this story and see if you can hear any sort of transition words that help the story move along. Our story today is called Snow. In mid-February last year, the local weather forecast showed snow. I was thrilled for the possibility of a snow day from school, snowball fights, snowmen, and sledding. We hadn't had snow for 3 years, which was when I was only 7 and couldn't possibly enjoy the snow to its fullest potential. I checked the weather forecast every hour, at least. The forecast changed from snow to rain / snow mix and back to snow again. The time of the snow arriving changed from 8 p.m. to 7 p.m. and back to 8 p.m. It seemed like the weather forecasters had no idea what was going to happen, so I kept my fingers crossed for snow, and lots of it. At 8 p.m., I met my neighbor and best friend Paul outside. We stared upward and saw grayish clouds that could hardly be recognized in the night sky. Paul asked, "Do you really think it's going to snow?" "It just has to," I replied as we sat on the curb and waited. A few minutes later, I felt something wet land on my forehead. Was it a raindrop? I thought it felt more splattery than a regular raindrop, but maybe that was wishful thinking. A couple more minutes passed and I felt one on my nose and then on my hand. "This is it," I told Paul as he looked at me doubtfully. Just then, the sky filled with tiny flecks of white, so I jumped up and put my tongue out to catch one. The flakes got bigger and bigger until there were huge snowflakes falling and accumulating on the ground, blanketing everything in a dusting of white. Paul and I ran around in circles, with our arms outstretched, trying to take in the moment. In about 15 minutes, there was enough snow on the ground to make a couple of snowballs. We each made a few and started a paddle. "Time to come in," Mom called from the porch. "No way," I screamed. "It's just started to snow." "It's a school day tomorrow. I need you in here right away to get ready for bed," she replied with a serious look on her face. Clearly, she didn't think we were going to get a snow day the next day. I reluctantly went into the house. There wasn't enough snow that night to build a snowman or go sledding or even get a day off from school, but at least Paul and I got to throw a couple snowballs. There's still hope for next year. So in that story, did you notice any transition words? Words that help the story move along? I noticed that the author used a lot of times, right? Like at 8 p.m., I went outside. A few minutes later, just then, time to come in. So the author's using a lot of time to help us. Well, what we're going to do today is use our anchor charts to make lists of common words. Now, the author didn't use too many of these. So let's take a look and see what words we can add. So we use transition words to keep our writing organized. Whenever we're trying to start our story or start a new event, we might say first. We might say first of all. We might say in the beginning or to begin with. In our author's story, they used a really specific time. They said in mid-February last year. You can be specific or you can just start like these. Be like first of all. Okay. Then, when you're getting ready to continue your story, you're going on to the next part. Things you might say are next, then, later, afterwards, eventually. Okay? Those are just a few that you might say in the middle. Okay? You might also say however or suddenly in there. Okay? Now, to end our story, you might say words like finally, in the end, last, or lastly. Or even another one that I just thought of would be after a while. Right after a while, this happened, and that was the end. So as you're going through your writing, you might have a lot of continues, or you might have a start, continue, end. Start, continue, end. Maybe you have two kind of things that are coming up. Okay? But you're definitely going to want at least one of each, which is going to be your task for today. So I would keep my anchor chart, like a hand there or a pencil in my book to keep it handy to flip back to. Your job today is to look back through your story and your masterpiece. Look for places where you need transition words or phrases to help readers know that the order of events, how they happened. Okay? So you're going to look back through and see, do I need to add any first of all, in the beginnings to begin with? Okay? Do I need any next, then, later? Maybe you already had those. Maybe you realize I was missing those. You're going to look through and see where you can add those transition words to your story. Remember we talked about using that little caret, that little almost like a triangle, or drawing a line if you need to too. Okay? We will start to work on kind of cleaning up our drafts here soon. So just stick with me for a little bit longer while we work on getting our final pieces together, okay? So work on that. And if you finish before your timer is up, then you can work on a more story section. Let me know if you have any questions. Otherwise, thanks for joining and good luck in your writing, adding your transitions.